Hi, I'm Barry and this is the Hanson leveler valve. The leveler valve is a dual level tank valve to reduce cycling in pumps. The Hanson handy tip today for the leveler valve is always placed close to the manhole, so they're easy to install and easy to maintain. Number two is, as you'll see with the flow, if it's under high pressure, the flow is obviously quite high. So we have put a 32mm thread on the outlet, so you can put a diffuser tube down into the bottom of the tank, but always make sure you punch out the anti-siphon holes to stop the tank draining back out through the valve. Everything you need to install the Hanson leveler valve in 32, 40 and 50mm inlets is available in the box. For more information you can go to our website at hansonproducts.co.nz.
Welcome back to New Zealand Dairy Farmer. When it comes to succession planning, it's a good idea to talk to the experts. We spoke to local specialist Marise James about some of the do's and don'ts involved in the process.
Why is succession planning such a difficult issue for so many dairy farmers, Marise?
I think the hardest thing is to actually start the conversation. There are a lot of elephants in the room, if you like, and the biggest step that a farmer can take, and the first step that a farmer can take, is actually break the silence and start the conversation. And from my experience, it's not actually the young ones that are afraid to have the conversation, it's the parents. For them, having that discussion brings up a whole lot of fears, if you like, about the future. Will I lose control? Where will I live? What will I do? And that's quite a major thing for someone who's given their heart and soul to owning a dairy farm.
So is it quite often a case of the younger members of the farming family pressing the parents to have the conversation a number of times before they do actually sit down and do that, or does it perhaps never happen?
Quite often it never happens, or it happens by default. And the strategy of the younger family pressing the parents doesn't work very often either. What needs to happen is there needs to be a combined effort by the advisors to the family, so the lawyers and the accountants as well as the children, to bring the issue to the fore and help the parents realise it's nothing to be afraid of, and it is something that should be done to ensure that what they've worked so hard to develop and grow can carry on successfully.
Is it an issue too that the situation is constantly changing in terms of land values, the worth that may need to be accumulated before retirement would be feasible?
If the process is left too long or goes on for too long, that can be a problem, and certainly for parents that are contemplating a succession plan, one of their fears is that they put a peg in the ground as to the value of their assets that they're going to go into retirement with, and if they're going to be retired for 30 or 40 years, then those assets, their fear is that those assets could lose a lot of value and they could end up poor, and that's understandable. So you have to go through strategies around how to protect them against that, and there are ways of doing that.
For dairy farming families contemplating the whole succession issues, do you have some pointers of what they should be looking for first and foremost?
Well, I think there's a process that they can go through, recognising that it is something that happens over a long period of time. And as I said right at the start, the first thing is to begin the conversation and then identify your goals and objectives out of the process. The third thing would be to establish a group of advisors that you want to use to help you put the plan together, and that will mostly involve your lawyer, your accountant, maybe a professional succession planner, your trustees if you've got a family trust, your partners if you're in a business partnership, so that everybody is aware of what is happening in the process and they are up to date with what you want to happen. Once you do that, you need to establish the facts. So what are the assets that you own? Do you own them personally? Do you own them through your family trust or through a company? And what are the liabilities that go against those assets? So you have some idea of what your succession plan is dealing with. And once you've got those sorts of things clarified, you need to work out how you want those assets to be dealt with in your succession plan. So some of them you may want to gift away, some of them you may want to leave as bequests in your will, some of them you may want to be part of the inheritance for the whole family, and others you may want to carry on and appoint a successor to carry on running that part of your life or your business. Once you have all those things in place, it's then a question of making sure you've got a risk management plan or a safety net to ensure that you can deal with any surprises or the inevitable, which is ultimately the death of the parents. And so that means that you need to make sure that you have things such as up-to-date wills, so that people know exactly what is to happen on your death, that you have in place a power of attorney, enduring power of attorney, in case before you die you don't have full charge of all your faculties and can't make decisions. You need to make sure that your memorandum of wishes states very clearly what you want to happen, and in that you would deal with the gifts and bequests like I talked about before, but also how you would want any debts, family debts, to be dealt with. Are they to be forgiven or are they to be repaid, and if so, over what period of time? You need to make sure that you have things in place such as shareholder agreements if you're in a corporate situation, so your other shareholders understand what is to happen. And so all of those legal documents, life insurance policies, who's going to get the proceeds of your life insurance policy, those kind of things should be up to date and clear, and you should be making sure that the people that need to invoke those know who they are, first of all, and what they are expected to do. So that kind of safety net is the thing that you put in place so that when you're not here or you're not able to deal with it, someone else knows what you wanted to happen.
That in total seems like an awful lot for a lot of dairy farmers. Best advice is just get started on it.
Yes.
And take it one bite at a time?
That's definitely the case. As I said, it's not something that happens in 5 minutes or even a week or a month. And it is a living document as well, because things can change. And you mentioned before blended families. There are circumstances where a succession plan can be put in place and then one spouse dies and maybe remarries, and suddenly you've got another whole set of circumstances that need to be revisited in terms of a succession plan. So it is a living document and a continuous process. It's not something that you just do and then put away in the bottom drawer. It won't work if that's how you treat it.
After the break on New Zealand Dairy Farmer, we return to talk further with Kenneth and Rachel Short about some of the specific ways that they put their succession plan in place and how it affects the family dynamic. See you after the break.